So we had a customer that came up to us, and they were a medical customer that had monitored medical equipment, and their systems could never be down. And so we recognized the fact that they had a funny situation go on where they couldn't use more than 50% of the available memory on the box. And it was basically taking the SQL Server database and it was artificially slowing everything down, and it was hurting the business and impacting their ability to get their job done. So they came to us, we figured out what the problem was quickly, and I'll share with you in a minute what that was, that there was a BIOS setting in the box that needed to be adjusted. So then we said to the customer, we need to take the system down for 5 minutes. Customer said, we can't take the system down for 5 minutes. So then we looked at the architecture of the system. They were on a standalone server. Went back to the customer and said, we have a problem. They go, what do you mean? I said, well, you're telling me the system can never come down, but as I look at how it's architected and built, it wasn't built to stay up 7/24. And if your users believe that that system can never come down, when it comes down, you've got a problem, because it will come down someday. And so it brings me to what I call the no-win SLA. Your user community has an expectation that the database can never come down, yet you as the DBA knows that that's not really true, that it wasn't built that way. And so what I say to people, and I say to DBAs, is I say, listen, businesses have expenses and they have assets. What do we do with expenses? We cut headcount, we trim expenses, we do everything in our power to get rid of expenses. What do we do with assets? We invest in them. You need to sit down with your users and you need to say, what are your expectations around the database availability? You need to have this conversation, because that elephant's in the room. Once you agree, then you need to sit down and map technology that will meet the business objectives and explain to them what it will cost. And they might get sticker shock and say, well, I can't afford that. You say, that's okay. But based on the investment that you've made, this is the SLA that I can give you. And when it comes down, you may be down for 5 hours. But if you make this investment, I can give you this. And you can give them their trade-offs and they can make a business choice. But more importantly, you've now set realistic expectations of the business, of what the technology and the database can do for you. Now back to the Tibbet. So what was this issue? I'm sure many of you are wondering. Well, interesting enough, when they took this particular machine and they set it up, it had all these energy savings set in the BIOS that were designed to save energy. The problem was it was shutting down the CPU and shutting down the database when things slowed down. And more importantly, it used something called dozing, which says to save energy, we're never going to let the CPU get to 100%. We're always going to keep it at 50%. And so what I would challenge you with is to look at your new servers, check the BIOS settings, because unbeknownst to you, you may have left it at the default, which is green friendly, but green friendly isn't necessarily optimizing database performance. And so this is a common problem that we see when people come to us, they have performance problems that they easily miss.